anytime you create a simulation, you're creating a simplification of some very complex things. You're taking something incredibly complex, you're putting it into a model that kids can grapple with and that the rest of us can deal with. And yet, that's not the end goal. The end goal is to get them to then go much deeper into their study and realize the complexity of the system or whatever they're studying. Do you have mechanisms for releasing them back out of the complexity of things? Like, how do you go beyond the game, I guess is what I'm asking.
That's a good question. And again, it's funny that, I mean, there is no like set answer model. It oftentimes depends on the class and what's happening, but oftentimes if it's from gameplay, then it's taking that gameplay that the students have done and then causing them to use that as a starting point for inquiry. So then, okay, we played this game. All right, what was interesting, or what was challenging, or what did you find during the course of play that sparked some questions, and start to explore those questions so that you get kind of student-driven inquiry coming from kind of the gameplay itself. If it's talking about doing game design, then you can do some interesting things as well there too. You talked a little bit about different approaches to doing games, and so we do I do different levels of game design when I do this with kids. So first step is, here's a game that's really broken. How do you fix it? Step 2, here's a game that works. Let's kind of redesign it or use it as a launching point to kind of explore and make our own game, so that I don't have to worry about the problems and challenges of coming up with a well-balanced game. I could take a well-balanced game and do something with it. So a great example is, there's a game like Power Grid, which is about running your own power companies and building power plants of different types of resources, and having a market for where those resources come from in a geographical location. And then so students can then say, all right, well, here's the Power Grid game for the United States. Well, let's create a map for Korea, and what would that look like? Let's do the research on like the energy choices and the availability of resources in Korea, and let's use that as kind of a launching point to do that. And then there's original game design, which is this whole other animal of taking and growing and doing iteration and applying and developing and figuring out a way to take and create a model or a system that is representative or reflective of something in the real world.